there is absolutely no guarantee of a paycheck at all.
That's the grind it takes to start off, and then you can always look back, and I mean, you've done the same thing, and it takes that, because you never know when that one's gonna hit, you never know when they're gonna refer you to somebody else, and that's why this game is not for everybody.
What makes it different? Like, what's the secret to a happy marriage and having a successful real estate career?
Flexibility is one thing I've kind of learned with you after this many years of doing this, but almost 10 years.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
It's so good to have you here.
I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on.
Welcome to the Balanced Broker.
Thank you, thank you.
I think having, a lot of people come to me and they ask me, what should I do about the fact that, my wife just doesn't understand when I have to work on the weekends or we're on vacation, and they're super annoyed because I'm always on calls and, can you talk to her? I've had a few friends actually ask me to talk to their spouses before. They're like, how do you do it? How come your husband seems to understand? What makes it different? Like, what's the secret to a happy marriage and having a successful real estate career? So I figured, since this is the Balanced Broker, and this is about, work-life balance and being successful in your real estate career and being successful on the home front.
The yin to your yang.
Yeah, the yin to my yang. Who better to have on than the yin to my yang?
Thank you very much. Thank you all for having me on. Really, it's, yeah.
Thank y'all.
There's no her without
Who
me,
are you
so.
saying y'all to? You're just talking to me. And stop swinging on your chair.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So let's get started.
Yeah, obviously that's probably the biggest question, right? Is like, how does a spouse adjust to the realtor life? And really, because the money's good. No, I mean, I think you got to see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? And I think it's just knowing that you got to be super flexible. Flexibility is one thing I've kind of learned with you after this many years of doing this, but almost 10 years here, because I'm such a Virgo, anal retentive schedule guy, rigor, schedule, all that stuff. So that was basically a really big challenge for me in the beginning, is like, what do you mean? You said you're going to be home by 3 o'clock, and then it's like 4:30, and I'm still dealing with a client, different things like that.
I feel like that lasted a long time. You were very, you caught on to how hectic a real estate life is pretty quickly, and you were very understanding. But there would be times that you'd be like, what time do you think you're going to be home? And I'm like, I'll be home by 5. And then I don't get home until like 7:30. And you'd be fuming, you'd be pissed.
Yeah, it'd be driving me crazy, because I would have kids and, one on the potty, one on my shoulder, different things like that. It's like, all right, you told me this time, and I'm so used to, like, when you tell me something, I want you to, like, abide by it. So,
but that's not.
But I've learned the game. I've kind of learned over time is you got to be flexible, right, as a spouse, and knowing that the schedule is, there really is no schedule. I mean, you're meeting clients at 8 in the morning, you're having, lunch with them, and then you have a dinner meeting, and then you have showings at 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock, and you have to be at that client's beck and call, to be there for them. You literally got to drop what you're doing to go do that. And I totally understand that, because I've seen the process from A to Z. Once you meet that client, then you get a listing, and then, all the ins and outs and the obstacles that come with that. And that's probably another question, that how do you develop that thick skin? And then the closing aspect. So once you see the A to Z and like, oh wow, and then you see the money getting closed in your account, then you're like, okay.
It's not just about the money, it's about the joy of finding somebody at home.
Of course it is. Of course it is. No, it really is though. I mean, what you do, what y'all do, is a very challenging field. That I couldn't do it. All the stuff that's thrown your way, all the curveballs that you deal with, and all the obstacles when you think you got it in the bag, and then you don't, and the deal falls out, and that client just bought a new car, or they didn't tell you about this, or I'm just like, my God, the stress level that you deal with, especially that you can handle, I think it's second to none. But
to put this into perspective, you're an emergency medicine physician. You deal with chaotic shit like on a whole different level on a daily basis.
Yeah, but I get to clock in and clock out.
That's my point. That's the difference. Like, you have to go from dealing with death, to dealing with, psychotic people in your emergency room, to dealing with somebody talking about an itch they've had for the past 5 years, and they're finally coming in to check it out. Just from all kinds of stuff from A to Z. So very hectic on a different level, but you're absolutely right. It's kind of like, when I go in, I'm there, it's hectic for those 10 hours.
I kind of know what I'm going to deal with, yes. And that's the beauty of why I didn't want my own practice or to carry that pager, right? Because otherwise those calls don't stop. But for you guys, it's like,
It never stops.
You meet the client, and then can you go over this with me? And can you go over this, fine line item in the contract? And I've seen you do contracts 10, 11, midnight, and then you deal with, you can deal with that crazy patient or that crazy client that just won't leave you alone and bothers you at all hours of the night. So that's at least the thing I know, at least when I'm there, the clock doesn't stop, but when I'm out, I'm done, and I literally flush it out of my mind and get ready for the next shift. And it's kind of a clock in, clock out mentality. Yeah, you get trained for the chaos and know how to deal with that, but y'all's job like never ends.
Yeah.
But the beauty is you do well by somebody, and then they refer you to another client, and that they're their family, and the networking that goes from that, the organic growth from what I've seen you have now with the referral market and this people referring you, it's a beautiful thing.
But here's the other thing. The flip side of that is that you're constantly being evaluated. You have to do a really great job in order to earn those referrals, right? You've got to be a good doctor.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you go in, you do your thing. You've got a job. You have to really screw up to
state
not
by
have a job.
state. In Texas, you really have to screw up. Yes,
In Texas, you really have to screw up.
in general, yeah.
But for us, there is absolutely no guarantee of a paycheck at all. And a lot of times we are working with the client, and we could be working with them for a year. We could have shown 50 houses, and then nothing comes to fruition.
That's what drives me crazy. At least like all that time, it's like when I know when I'm leaving the door to go to work, I'm getting paid, right? Like what you're leaving to do. Yeah. But for you guys, you could show somebody 50 homes, 100 homes. I mean, Eleni sitting right there has shown people. I'm like, God damn, I don't know how the hell. Excuse my language. It's like how the heck has she shown this many homes to people? But that's the grind it takes to start off, and then you can always look back, and you've done the same thing, and it takes that, because you never know when that one's going to hit. You never know when they're going to refer you to somebody else, and that's why this game is not for everybody, and so you hear nowadays, every Tom, Dick, and Harry wants to be a realtor, but it ain't for everybody, man. This game is different, but it's a different kind of hustle. So mad respect to you, wifey.
Thank you. Persistent and resilient. So back to the so I would say I'm coming home at 5, and then I don't come home until 7:30, which used to be very upsetting for you. But then you started to understand, right? But at the same time, you also started to put limits on me, and I think that's really important for people to get, is that you can have an extremely supportive spouse, but don't take advantage of that. There is a lot of give and take, and I think that now, after realizing that is the thing that really makes you tick. If I say I'm going to be home at a certain hour and I'm not home at that hour, that I need to at least aim for that hour. It makes me more conscious when I am sitting with someone to be able to set some boundaries and limits and be like, hey, I actually have to be somewhere at 6 o'clock or at 5 o'clock. And so let's continue this, let's look at these next 3 houses. When's your next availability? Or, hey, let's talk about this. Let's set up a phone call to finish discussing this portion, because I don't want to piss you off. I don't want to come home and you're angry, even though you might be understanding. I know the unsaid message of you with the baby here and feeding this one.
You get it, right? And your threshold increases about but at some point it's like, this job it could go on forever. You could come home and be on the phone looking at listings. You wake up at 5 a.m. You go on the MLS. It could be a nonstop thing. At some point, for your wellness too and your well-being, to be better for your spouse, your kids, being a mom, a husband, and even your clients. You got to eventually shut off the brain to be able to recharge and do it again the next day. Otherwise, it could go forever. Some people want to be immersed in their work, but I think the work-life balance, right? Being able to do that is healthy for you and your productivity at work and with those clients. But having said that, I think you start realizing, right, after you've done this long enough, you start sifting through quantity and quality of clients and kind of knowing, all right, this is a bunch of waste of my time, man. This person ain't going to buy. You kind of know, right? Not in the car business, a different thing. That you come in, you can't judge a book by its cover. Some guy might buy a car you never even know. You could show them tons of cars, or they're just repeat. They come every Saturday and they never buy anything. I think that same thing can start happening in real estate. So you got to have to, as you gain the experience, hey, this is a quality guy. You can sift through, okay, am I really wasting my time? Or no, this guy's bought before. They've referred me 2-3 other people. I'm like, hey, go spend time with that client. I get it, because this is going to be a buyer, a legit person that.
So you gauge whether or not my clients are
just
wasting my time.
Hell yeah, in a way.
And it's funny because you actually do. You will give me more leeway with certain clients and more time with certain clients, I think, than other clients.
Yes, because
which is-
my favorite
which is
quote
funny.
is what? The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. So if they've wasted your damn time for 2 years and just kind of strung you along just because they want to spend time with Sarah or pick your brain and all your knowledge about stuff, but they ain't gonna buy it, it's like, honey, stop wasting your time. Really, you got to know when to kind of cut it off. And you're, like I tell you, you're like the Mother Teresa. You're like so generous and want to give everybody your knowledge, but at some point you got to have to hone it in to really know.
By the way,
who to
I take
spend it
that
on.
as a compliment.
It is a
when
very-
you
it's a big
when you call me
compliment.
Mother Teresa.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
that you say it as like
Big
like
compliment,
it's a
for
bad
sure.
thing.
No, it's not a
But,
bad thing. It's a great thing. But that's
but
why
no,
this works.
so-
Is
so
if
back
I
to-
try to hold the reins in, and that's why this cart and buggy goes, because I know when to kind of pull back.
So
and
you're
when you know when to
pulling the
go.
reins. Okay, pulling the reins in on me.
Well, no.
My point was is like I have learned you too. Your threshold and your tolerance has gotten a lot better when it comes to the amount of time that I spend on this
sure.
business for sure. But at the same time, you have helped me become far more efficient in my business
Yeah.
when it comes to spending time with clients, setting expectations and having boundaries. And it's because I don't want to hear you talk shit to me when I come home. And because I love people.
Yeah.
And I love this business and I love real estate. I really do.
See, I'm
mean,
going to kind of hate people after working
I-
at ER.
I
You kind of get burnt
know.
out and
I
you
know.
get jaded. No, I'm kidding. No.
Well, luckily I get to pick and choose who I work with now.
That's
and so
yes. That's
the
where
clients
you want to be.
that I
That's
do
kind
have,
of
I love spending. I do love
There you
spending.
go.
I'm lucky enough that for the most part, I love spending time with clients. They become my friends. They become my family.
Yeah.
They are my hangout,
and
right?
you take it so seriously, like you're selling your own house, and that's what I love about you, right? But you also bring that stress home, and you're like so stressing about the client and their home and all the stuff. I'm like, okay, at some point, of course, if they want that house, you sell them that house. But I get it, because if you're like, if I wouldn't buy it, why the heck would I make them buy it? And so I think that goes a long way. That's why you are, thank God, so successful in what you do, because people see that in you. And then you're not really ever working a day in your life.
What would you say is the biggest challenge of being the spouse of a busy real estate agent?
I think it's just, you've got to be able to adapt and be flexible with your schedules, right? I mean, if one person's working like a strict 8 to 5 and they a corporate job and they can't get out and they're bounded by that job, it's going to be hard to be married or be with a real estate person, because and juggle life, kids, all that kind of stuff, because it's like your schedule all over the place every day. But if I can't give you that leeway of, no, don't worry, honey, I got the kids this day, I can take off or whatnot, then that becomes a big challenge. So I think it's just a matter of, if the other person working from home or different things like that, then it can be very manageable.
But would you say it's gotten better over the years?
Oh, 100% it's gotten better.
But
Yeah.
It's not that I've increased my income up. I mean that I've decreased my income. I've actually increased how much money that I'm bringing home. But would you say that I've gotten busier, or do you feel like I've gotten less busy?
I feel like you've gotten busier, but it's busier with quality people and people who you want to work with, who have done real estate with you. So then it's like,
Expectations are set.
expectations are
yeah.
set, not having
repeat
long
clients,
conversations,
yeah.
repeat clients. So it's kind of like, hey, this is what I'm interested in. I already know I want to go with you. I referred
That's
you
a
my
really
brother.
good point.
My brother, they've already spit out your resume to the brother. So it's like, hey, they've already told me
The
Sarah's
rapport
great.
is already there.
This
That's
is what
a
I'm
really
looking
good point.
for in Castle Hills, in Frisco.
Yeah.
I mean, there ain't that many homes here, by the way, anyway, these guys, newsflash. So at that point, it's just like bam, bam, bam. There's not much of this, let me go meet you and interview you and all that kind of stuff. Now,
Right.
when you're a green agent, I think there's a lot of that involved, right?
Right.
But luckily, when you put in the time you have from, Cali, Vegas, here that I've seen you do, you're kind of at that pinnacle of real estate in a way where you get to choose who you work with. And luckily, most of them have deep pockets.
No,
so
that's
good.
a. Shut up. No, I honestly, I have not thought about it that way. That even though your income might increase and you have a more lucrative business, it's not necessarily that you spend more time on the business. It's actually less time, because of one of the factors of that is that you have to spend less time establishing your rapport with an individual, because you've got a lot of referral business and repeat clients. So
Yeah.
you're right, they already know who they're talking to. You don't have to necessarily show them who you are
Yeah.
and really you have to nurture the relationship, obviously, and
For
you have
sure.
to do your absolute
But
best
you've already
work.
put that time and effort in where they
know
already,
how you
they
work,
already know how
you
you.
know,
So
or at
you've
least
already
they know
gained,
someone who
you've
knows
already
how you
gained that
work.
through that first transaction.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's like, all right, we're a believer, and they're going to refer Sarah to everybody. But also, it's a quality over quantity thing, right? I think you know, the home prices and everything in this area in DFW has gone up anyway. So that $250,000 home, when you got
That's
to sell 4 or 5 of them and work harder, nowadays the mean price is like 400 to 500 for just your 2,500 and 3,000 square foot home in this area. So you don't have to sell
It's
as
about
much.
547 in Collin County. It's about
Okay, thank you very much.
507 in Dane
Good.
County.
You
Good
should-
job. You know
I mean,
so much.
I pick up here and there. Yeah.
You're good, yeah.
But therefore, you don't have to sell as much
Yeah.
to make as much or more. And then, it's just, then, hey, somebody refers you I'm looking in the $1 million price point, this and that. So if you secure those people, 3% goes a long way.
Yeah. No,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Am I a good mother?
of course. Amazing mother.
Don't not like knee jerk. Like think about
Yes,
it.
you're,
Think what makes a good mother?
oh man. I mean,
What
that's
makes a good mother, and am I a good mother?
Whew. I mean, what makes a good mother is obviously spending time with your children, nurturing them, wanting to spend time with them, right? Not just to like do the basics and buy them out the door kind of stuff. No, you want to spend that time with them. You want to cuddle with them in bed. I've seen you from day one with these kiddos, as Ali is smiling in the background, changing diapers to all that. So spending that time up front. And then now it's like seeing their development and really investing your time in reading a book with them at nighttime. Despite you having a long day, you'll still sit in that rocking chair and go read with Niam and different things and put him in Kumon when we need to, but that's a separate.
Because he's falling behind on his reading.
Why is he falling behind?
Great mother.
No. But it's, watching movies with them and all the other stuff that maybe, I do the sports thing and wrestle with them. You do all the other things that, not like a mother should do, but it's just a matter of you love your kids. You want to be with your kids. Now, as they get older, we really realize that we want to spend time just
Yeah,
with
we
us
kinda like
and
them.
our kids. We do kind of like them. And
Yeah.
they're cool kids, cool individuals. The personalities are flourishing,
Yeah.
So yes, you're a good mother for that way, of course. You wake up in the morning, you make all their lunches, and you do all those things too. So it's like you're just a badass, man.
Aw.
Seriously, like
thanks.
you wear all the hats and you do them really, really well.
Am I a
so-
good wife?
Of course. I mean, you're an amazing wife. You're an amazing wife. You're starting to love sports more. You're going to watch the
Does that make
playoffs
me a
with
wife?
me. You watch Mavericks games and sports games, and you love football.
I do love
And
football.
So we'll sit on the couch on Sundays, and you'll kind of dedicate it to.
So is that what makes a good wife?
I mean,
a sports
for
wife?
me, yeah, no. But obviously, you got to know what your spouse is into, and maybe try to take a liking to those things. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you'll never kind of connect with that person on that level, right? So, but hopefully, that's when you're meeting that person and dating that person. Okay, obviously, they're into sports, and hey, I like sports too. So that's one of your outings, right?
Sports is really important to you.
I mean, kind of.
What else makes a good wife, Homer?
Being educated and doing all the things that you've shown me on that end, and going to grad school and getting the degrees, and then also being the sports, do the
So
sports
being
thing.
educated and
And
liking
obviously
sports.
you're beautiful,
Wow.
and you're very cool.
And I'm
you
pretty.
can hang out with,
All right.
a lot of people and do a lot of things. I don't know.
That's what makes me a good wife.
I mean, you're nurturing, you're loving, you give me everything I want, and you keep it spicy and sassy every day, and that's what I want, not just the mundane monotony of Monday through Friday. So that's what we're like. Hey, let's book a trip. Let's take a trip. Let's get on a road trip. Let's put the kids in a car and go.
So
Like
spontaneity.
spontaneity is huge. Yeah,
Do you think I'm nice?
of course you're nice.
Am I
mean,
nice
can
to
be
you?
Yes, of course you're nice
I
to
can
me.
be a wet. Finish your sentence.
You can be a bulldog when you need to be, but that's good, and we need that. I need that. The kids need that. It's like the perfect balance. Like in our house, when I'm a pushover and a softie, you're the ones that
Yeah.
put their butt in check, put their ass in check, if I can cuss. But yeah, so
You can cuss.
yeah.
What is it? Do you like real estate?
I
Do you like the industry? And do you think
Yes.
that that's important? I should say.
As being the spouse.
The spouse is
Yes.
amazing.
Oh, totally. I love hearing about your day. Right when you come home and who'd you meet today? Who'd you network with? And what does this person do? And what are they looking for? And kind of through that, right? Because I mean, I didn't learn all these things in my path of whatever education. So now you hear so much and you learn so much as far as interest rates and borrowing money and FHA
Yeah.
loan,
You
all
have
the
grown
stuff,
so much.
all
Like,
this
you know so
jargon
much
that I had
now.
no clue about, right?
Yeah.
So you hear it enough and you start learning about it. So that's been cool, just to learn a different thing. And just because if you do medicine, you can't.
Yeah,
you
but
go
see,
dumb.
you're unique in that because I don't think that it's like that in every marriage, right?
Where they don't want to
they're-
hear about what the.
They're not interested in hearing about what you did today and really what houses you showed. I come home and I'm exhausted, and you're like, so tell me about your day. So then you met with that client, and then what did you do? And then
Yeah,
what
I
did they
just
say?
kinda
And
like-
it's kind of annoying
I
because
kinda
I'm
like
like, I don't want to
knowing
tell
what's-
you the whole damn day.
No,
but
I know,
you
but
want to know
I just think it's
all the
cool on
nitty-gritty.
people's walks of life, what they're looking for, where they move from, and you love to tell me about, oh, I met the coolest little family. They're so nice. They're moving from here, and so you end up telling me about them. So I kind of want them to know about them more. And you're like, hey, let's go. I got to go drive by the house and see the listing. So on the weekends when we're doing stuff together, and we kind of talk about our day or our week, I slowly become interested. But yes, I do love real estate. I think it's.
So I think it comes back to the common interest thing, and you thinking that it's really important to have a wife. What makes a good wife is being into sports. So being into real estate is really important. I think that I've known past relationships, of a person in real estate, maybe the spouse is not in that industry and they're a completely different industry, and it's very difficult for them because the spouse shows no interest in what they are doing. So there's no. They probably have never done a real estate transaction, or maybe not many real estate transactions. It doesn't interest them. And so they don't really empathize with the stress that goes into it. I think what makes you able to empathize, which makes you extremely supportive, is that not only have we bought and sold a couple of our own properties, which is, what
flip properties, different
mature
things like
people
that.
do, but we also do the flip properties. So you've seen the rigors of construction from A to Z, doing it, what can go wrong, and that firsthand experience, I think, allows you to kind of empathize with.
Oh, totally,
with
and that's the thing, right? I think
with the realtor.
Well, I don't, sometimes you don't recommend like working together and doing stuff together, but I mean, I think we're blessed with a beautiful relationship. We're like the best of friends, where we can do anything together and kind of we have fun with it. We have the same taste when it comes to design and all that.
We're usually on the same page.
So that helps too, and I've kind of, I think I was maybe a designer back in the day or something, because I'm really good at picking out cabinet colors and back tile and marble slabs and stuff like that. Shout out to Z Marble Slab Creamery. So that was cool that we had the same design eye as well.
But not all spouses are like that. I mean, you're right, they can't work together, or maybe they can't do a flip property together, or go through that, or maybe that house that they did purchase together was the most stressful purchase of their life.
Because maybe one's a risk taker, one's a risk taker, one not. So like, honey, why are we putting?
But that maybe doesn't mean that they're not, they're doomed and they're not going to be able to be a supportive spouse, So is there any advice that you would give, that married couple or that relationship, if they're in two different industries, they're married to real estate. Married to real estate. And they, it's not something that they can really empathize with. How can they be supportive?
I think in this field, in this genre, what you're doing, I think it is important to take your spouse to work day, I think it is important for that spouse to see kind of what you do on a daily. It could just be maybe, hey, I'm meeting this client for the first time. They invite me over for a listing. Just come with me, honey, just to kind of meet them. I just want to introduce you as well. So at least you kind of know one aspect of it. Or it could be, hey, I'm doing a flip property. You want to come in with me and get your hands dirty and kind of see how they're ripping out floors and doing stuff like that. Whatever aspect that spouse wants to kind of be in, but I do think it's good to dip and get your feet wet a little bit to appreciate what your partner and your spouse is doing. Because I think it gives you a different appreciation of maybe why they're running late and why that deal fell through or different things like that. If you can understand some of the rigors and the obstacles that they face, I think it gives you a different appreciation of what they're doing on a daily. And it makes you really appreciate when that deal closes or when things come awry. You have an empathy and a special place for it, that if you never know what they're doing, they're just kind of, oh, how's your day? Oh, it was good. And you're kind of doing your own thing. But that's maybe not healthy from the get-go, but you want to at least take some initiative and action, into what their interest and what they're doing.
And the cool thing is that in real estate you can do that, right? Like
exactly.
You can be like,
that's
hey,
the beauty of your schedule.
Hey, I can't go with you to the ER and watch you, examine patients,
exactly.
Right? But I can't really empathize with you,
but
right?
You're like, hey, come to this lunch meeting. I'm like, great. If it's on the company card, I'm down because I want to eat.
You are the company card. What are you talking
about? Stuff like that is cool, and you get to always meet new people, and then of course the referrals that come with it. Once I have seen what you're doing, and I believe in you and know you're the best agent out there, then I'm going to give you all my, it's validated that I give you all my referrals and networks and friends.
Because otherwise, who would you be giving your referrals to?
Nobody. I mean, I got to believe in that person. My friends are very important to me.
Has there ever been a time where she's come home and it feels like she's there, but she's not there?
For sure. That's become a lot better now, but man, in the beginning, like one of my pet peeves is when she's like on her phone all the time and we're like, at the dinner table, hey, I've got to get on the couch, I've got to finish this, I got to write this listing agreement, or I've got to put this offer in, or this client wants me to do comps. Oh my God, comps. Ooh. Comps, boy, because comps take forever.
My comps take forever.
Your comps take forever. I mean, I don't know if every
because I
agent's comp takes forever, but
dissect the comps.
and I get that, and I love that about you, right? The data analytics and how you analyze stuff. That's what separates you from the rest. But that stuff is a grind. It takes forever. So I thought, oh, the day's done. She already did all that stuff, but then you come home and then you got to sit down on the computer again and do 2-3 hours of stuff. It's like, honey, you know, we have a life. We want to talk about our day. We want to sit on the dinner table and just talk. But you know, that phone thing, man. The beginning was. You've got much better about it, but in the beginning, I'm like, hey, put down your phone. The kids are talking to you. I'm talking to you. Like, let's make eye contact. So those things are very important in general in life, right? To you know, be involved with your kids.
I've been very cognizant of
Yes.
that and worked on that for the past
But,
few years.
But like
And I've seen a difference
Yes.
in everyone around me because
exactly.
of that. So,
But I get it. I know it's what you do, but at some point you got to like kind of, otherwise that work will never end, you know? So, but yeah, try to put the phone down and look people in the eye.
anything else?
No, that's.
Any other pet peeves? Anything that I do that just ticks you off? Real estate related? The phone. That's your biggest.
I mean,
thing?
that's the biggest one, but I get it. I mean, you're spending time well spent and efficiently now, and not just like browsing the MLS for no reason. It's about, hey, this client has bought before, they're going to buy. I really need to run comps for them. Got to get it out now, you know. And of course now, and I see, you know, of course people know that you're a lawyer as well. So hey, can you fight this appraisal for me on the taxes and the property tax stuff? So you end up being that Mother Teresa. You end up doing a lot of other stuff that I don't think other agents do for people, and really,
But
you
that's
know,
why I
going.
have a successful business.
I get that, I know, but part
It's
of me
all
is
the
like,
extras that I do.
Yes.
You know, but
they want to negotiate commission too, which is like, yo, bro, come on, like
Yeah.
you can't. We got to eat too, you know. So stuff like that can be a challenge sometimes. But
how do you
that's what
feel
makes
about
us
that? I
successful.
feel like that is one of our biggest, one of our. We can argue about that quite a bit because since I'm Mother Teresa, and I tend to give. Yeah, I tend to give contributions. Sometimes when clients are in a pinch, and I've really
Well, every
tried
client
to.
will be in a pinch if you want them to, you know, be in a pinch. So
No, but I think that now I've got more of my clientele base, again, are repeat clients, and they understand my value. And it
Correct.
took me a while to get to that point where I can sift through clients and I can pick and choose and I really work with clients who do understand the value of having, you know, good guidance and purchasing your investment properties or your.
yeah,
or your
look, you know, I get
residence.
close friends, family, different things like that. I mean, I get that, but I also want them to, you know, value the real estate agent and value what you guys bring to the table, you know,
Yeah.
and especially you. So it's like, at some point you can't keep negotiating on all kinds of different things, and so that's kind of my 2 cents on that. And with this whole, you know, NAR thing, that's more on your end, but hopefully they won't use that as more leverage to be like, oh, see, I knew it. There's really no value
I
in you
mean,
guys, but I think
absolutely, but
the ones that are, know what they're doing are
I
not
feel
gonna.
like busier people, business people, people who have
Correct.
transacted on this level, they understand why there is this fee associated
That's
with,
right. That's
you
right.
know, a real estate transaction, right? And they are more than willing to pay it because they don't have the time. They're usually busy.
Yes.
They're busy people, and they don't want to have to deal with the liability of it and with the emotions of it, and so they'd rather, you know, compensate someone who is a professional to do that for them. So I'm not scared about that.
How do you think,
But I
but
know-
we're off topic, I mean, juggling our schedules, how do you think that's gone recently?
Well, it's
I think
great because you have a lot less time at
I
work.
know, but I
So-
think
So how do you think
the other,
that's gone?
others, one of the
Because you
spouses
kinda-
has to be more organized, maybe getting a calendar, a Google Calendar, and putting all the kids' activities and practices and what you got going on in my shifts and
So
all
who
that
is
stuff.
that spouse that's more organized, that puts the things in the calendar, would you say?
You do.
Okay. I thought you were
But
insinuating that
sometimes
you
you
do.
mess up on stuff, so I have to remind you on things.
But do you put things in calendars?
I don't like, I'm putting my own calendar the old school
you
way,
don't put it in
but I
our
don't know how to do
calendar.
in the family calendar.
Exactly, so
I know,
okay.
I'm not real techie.
Shut that down real quick. Final question. What does a successful real estate career mean to you? What does that look like?
Well, for me personally, it means for me more time to go to the gym and play tennis during the week. Because my spouse is doing well, doing real estate, then I don't have to work as much in the ER, which is a good thing because I'm kind of burnt out. But no, I think it's the freedom to have your own schedule, right? And kind of knowing once you've developed that amazing portfolio of clients, that one client begets the other client. It just keeps going so organically that it's not like you're, having to sit there and look for leads, right? And so I think for me, it's a beautiful thing now seeing where you are, 15, 18 years kind of doing this from a green agent when we first started dating in Vegas to now, doing your short sales in Vegas, then moving to Dallas. You were totally foreign to this area. I was born and raised here. So different things like that where I've kind of had to navigate you through territories and of course people that I knew here. But now just to watch you kind of, you're soaring on your own. And so that's the best success for me is just kind of watching you, marvel at your craft and really just getting better at it, every deal, every transaction, and just moving on to bigger and better things. It's like, a whole land development or a whole neighborhood now you're selling on your own, not just one-offs, and kind of eventually getting to our goal of hopefully, doing design and doing luxury real estate. That's, I think, a successful career to me. And that for every person, that can be different, right? Some people, their niche can be just, just specializing in Irving or in Mesquite or in Frisco and just dealing with that 500 and below client. Some in doing bulk. Some people want to eventually move on and do higher, end listings and luxury sales, or tapping into the commercial developments or, fire homes, flip properties. Everybody kind of has what they like to do and kind of that's their lingo.
But when do you know that you have achieved success?
When you can do it on your own dime and be traveling and kind of work when you want to work and not have to, you can live to work, not work to live.
And we'll wrap right there, okay.
Yes, sir.